Hey guys, welcome back to another Vlogoween. This time I will be giving you guys a little introduction on when it all started for me. So when all the scary things started happening, which was at a really young age. Before I get started though, if you guys are not caught up, I am doing Vlogoween for the next 31 days. Oh, well, now I already have one down, so for the next 30 days I am posting one day I guess behind, you would say. I posted my first video yesterday, which is October 2nd. I just want to give myself time so that when I do vlog, I have the whole night to be able to vlog and then edit the next morning and post that video up for you guys the next day. So that's how it's gonna work. I'm hoping that for Halloween I can vlog that whole night. That way November 1st would be the last day of my Vlogoween. It was brought to my attention, someone commented on my video that there is a such thing as what I'm basically kind of doing, and it's called Vlogtober. Someone's at my door, 1 second. Sorry about that, it was a Amazon package. So yeah, it was brought to my attention that there's such thing as Vlogtober, and I had no idea that this was a thing. I was debating if I should change the name to Vlogtober from what I had originally thought of, which is Vlogoween. I don't know how I didn't think of Vlogtober. I even texted my boyfriend because we were trying to come up for a name for this. I texted him this morning and I was like, why didn't we think of Vlogtober? And he texted me, he's like, wow, how didn't we think of that? But anyways, I was thinking if I should change that, and then I was like, you know what, I'm doing this more because I want to give you guys scary stories and basically what happens in my family or with my friends, and you know, paranormal things that we've gone through. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to Vlogoween because Halloween is this month. So I'm just gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to Vlogoween for the rest of the month, and that way it can basically go with my theme, with what I'm mostly going to be talking about. Of course, like I said in my last video, I am going to be having my random vlogs, but I'm really aiming to just have more of story times throughout the month. So it's set, it's gonna be Vlogoween. I can get started now. From when I remember, things started happening to me when I was around, I want to say 4 to 5 years old. At this time I was living obviously with my parents. They were renting a small room at one of my uncle's house. So my parents, you know, they weren't making enough money. They had recently, you know, came from Mexico, so they were just living paycheck to paycheck, and we had this small room, and they had their, I don't know if they had like a full size bed or a queen bed. It was most likely a full because it was a really small room. And then we had bunk beds, me and my brother. My brother is 3 years older than me, so I was 4 to 5 years old, and my brother, I want to say, was 7, 8 years old. And this was when it all started happening. This house has a lot of background. It was an older house. We had family that lived there, things that happened in our family. So it was kind of already like a spooky, like, me and my cousins would always get together and talk about things that would happen, right? So so at 4 to 5 years old, I started waking up in the middle of the night. I don't know the time, I just know it was the middle of the night. We already had gone to bed. I had already been sleeping for a couple hours, and I would always wake up screaming and crying and terrified, okay, terrified. So I slept on the bottom bunk bed, and literally, like, I want to say between the bunk bed and my parents' bed, it was probably like this much space, just enough to walk through it, right? When I would wake up screaming and crying, obviously my parents would wake up, my brother would wake up, and they'd be like, what's wrong with you? And I'd be shaking, terrified. And I would always, every single night, I kid you not, every single night, probably for like a good couple of months, I would always see something different every single night. And there's only certain things I remember, but I know I was waking up for a really long time seeing different things, but there's only certain things that I do remember that I saw. This one time I woke up screaming, crying, and I saw two guys. I remember them being dark skinned. They had like button up shirts. They were walking towards me. Like, I felt like this was real, okay? And you guys might think, oh, you were having a nightmare, you know, it wasn't really happening. But no, I would wake up my parents and I would be like, look, it's right there, they're right there, they're coming towards me. And this one, I feel like I remember being the most terrifying, because I saw one of them coming towards me and literally saw the other one getting on on my brother's bed. And since we had bunk beds, there was like a little ladder basically to get on top of, you know, the second bunk bed. And I saw him getting on my brother's bed, and I'm over here thinking like, this guy's gonna murder us, he's gonna do something to us. I was terrified. I was yelling out, like telling my parents like, they're right there, how do you guys not see them? So then they would finally, like, it would go away and they would calm me down, and you know, the next day would come and I would be so scared to sleep, you guys. It was terrifying. So it got to the point where it was happening every single night. And my parents would sleep with a flashlight next to them because they already knew I was gonna wake them up crying, screaming, you know, in the night. So this other time I remember seeing old dead skulls. It was walking towards me. This time it was just one, and it was walking towards me, and it was so scary. Since my parents would sleep with the flashlight, they would point at, you know, because I'd be like, it's right there, it's right there, it's staring at me, it's gonna come get me. And I'd be awake, you guys, okay? I'd be awake. It wasn't a freaking nightmare. I would be awake, and I'd be like, it's right there, it's right there, like, make it go away, please make it go away. And they would point the flashlight, and for some reason when they would point it with the flashlight, I wouldn't see anything. I'd be like, oh my god, like, it's gone. But then they would turn it off and I would see it again. I'd be like, oh my god, it's coming. So for a good while, like, they would just put me to sleep, like, on their bed, and be like, it's fine, you're gonna be okay. Another time I woke up, and this time, a lot of the times, you know, like I said, we lived at my uncle's house. He had a pretty big family himself, with, you know, my cousins that lived there, his wife, and they would hear me crying at night, and they would ask me the next day, like, what happened, like, what, you know, why were you screaming and yelling? And this one time I saw a snake on my bed, okay? I saw a freaking snake on my bed, but I couldn't see the actual snake. I saw it slithering under my cover. So I got up because I felt something, and I was like, what the hell? I got off, and then I could see something slithering, and I was yelling, and I was like, there's a snake on my bed, there's a snake on my bed. I don't know what explanation there is for this, because like I said, I was awake. It's not like I was having a nightmare. I was probably just seeing things. Sometimes I'm like, I'm freaking crazy, you know. But so then my parents got up and they were checking the covers. They're like, there's nothing there, Judith, like, relax. Those are some of the things that I remember. Like I said, there's more, but I'm not gonna get into detail with all of them, or with all of the ones I remember. Excuse me. So my mom started, of course, getting worried. They would take me to the doctor. Nothing was wrong with me. And I don't know if it was to my grandma, or she made the comment to someone. And, you know, they were like, she's waking up every single night. She's crying every single night. Like, she says that she sees something. There's nothing there. Like, you know, and she's legit pointing at this, whatever she's seeing, and we don't see anything. So they asked her, well, what does she sleep with? And I used to have a bunch of dolls, a bunch of them, porcelain dolls, stuffed dolls, babies. I had like a whole collection of them, and I loved sleeping with them. I loved just going to, like, my mom would tuck me in bed and she would put all the dolls around me, and they told her, let's just say it was my grandma that she was telling, and she told her, you need to stop letting her sleep with these dolls. This could be the reason why this is happening to her. And mom was like, but why? Well, what do her dolls have to do with that? And then she told her, well, you know what, I don't know like if anyone else has heard this, but they told her that the dolls, especially I believe the porcelain ones, que son del devil. So which is why I feel like in scary movies, it's always like a doll that's possessed or something, you know, like Annabelle. It's always like the dolls that you get creeped out at, that you feel like they're staring at you. And so my mom, I was so sad, but she didn't let me sleep with my dolls anymore. And the first night that I didn't sleep with my dolls, it just went away. it stopped happening to me. And I told her that because they're from the devil or something like that, that they don't let your angels protect you. So they say, at least us growing up, I believe we have like 7 angels protecting us when we're babies or when we're little. So they told my mom that the angels weren't able to protect me at night because I had so many dolls surrounding me. And let me know if you guys have heard about this, but that's basically what was happening to me. And then so that stopped. And after that, it just happened one time, and I think that time I slept with one of my dolls. But this time we had already moved. My mom had gotten pregnant with my little sister, so my dad was like, we're not gonna be able to fit one more person in this room. So they got a little studio apartment at the time. We grew up very, you know, they weren't making a lot of money or anything like that, so we were always like in little tight places. The good thing is that, you know, we had a roof over our head and food, and I know they were barely making it, but thankfully, you know, they were able to at least provide that for us, and we're very grateful for it. But we had a small studio, and in this studio it was the bunk beds. My parents' bed was across on the other, like on another corner, and my sister's crib was across from us. And one time I woke up and I saw this baby standing on her crib, like staring down at her. And I was like, why, like, is my sister up? Like, what, like, you know, what's going on? But my sister was tiny, she was a baby, so I remember her just not being able to crawl or do any of that yet. She was pretty tiny, and he was just looking over her, and I was in shock for a bit. And at this time, I want to say I was probably like 7 years old, or maybe we're 6 years apart, so I was probably like 6.5 or somewhere around there, right before I hit probably 7 years old. And then he turns around and looks at me, and I swear it looked like it was a freaking the devil in disguise to a baby, because I just saw like red eyes and then just staring at me, and I was like, what the hell? And I screamed, and I told my parents. They were like, go to sleep, it's nothing, there's nothing there, just go to sleep. And I remember I couldn't sleep that night because I was like, oh my god, I was just looking out for my sister, you know. It's like, why is this, you know, freaking monster, devil, whatever it was, on my sister's crib? And that's the last thing I remember from there. I think I should have talked to my parents before, that way they would have like kind of reminded me of other things that happened. But that's the last thing I remember, at least in those apartments. And after that, I just remember we would move from apartment to apartment. It was always, you know, if my parents moved, you know, to a different job, we would move, so it would be more local, or, you know, the rent would be cheaper. So I just remember growing up moving from apartment to apartment. And at this other apartment, I want to say at this time I was probably like 9 years old, and this one I feel like is probably the most scariest thing that I remembered. And I don't know if this one was actually a nightmare, because I remember after that I would just have the worst nightmares. I would always dream about death. I would dream about my siblings dying, my parents dying. It was always, until this day I have crazy horror freaking dreams that, like, I'm like, why do I dream this? And this time I just remember like waking up, and it felt so real, but I can't say honestly if it was a dream or not. And I remember seeing my mom was laying next to my dad, and my dad's head was cut off. It was literally just like laying next to him, and it was staring at me. And you guys, I've been daddy's girl since day one, and I think that's probably like the most scariest nightmare that I've had ever, because I've had scary ones, but the fact that it was my dad and I saw him basically dead was horrible. Like, I went crazy. I couldn't stop crying for like a full hour, and my parents kept telling me, what did you see this time? And I couldn't even tell them, because I was just like, what the hell? So I just remember crying, and then I don't know if I woke up crying in my sleep, and then my parents heard me, and then that's when like it felt so real, or I don't know if I was awake seeing this. It was just crazy. But anyways, that can get an idea of the crazy nightmares that I have. I am gonna end it on that note though. This is only one of my story times, you guys, so more coming. I am going to be talking to you guys about when my sleep paralysis started, which sleep paralysis is freaking horrible. I have more interesting story times for you guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below if anything like this has happened to any of you guys. Let me know if you guys have any other suggestions of videos that I can do. But like I said, I will be doing more story times of things that happen with me, with my sisters. I will be having them come and film with me as well. So I will see you guys on my next Vlogoween. Thank you for watching. Love you guys.